Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Africa is Home podcast. Today with us, we have an amazing entrepreneur, business consultant, business coach, and a trainer from West Africa, to be precise, Cameroon. Today with us, we have Dr. Javnyuy Joybert. He is based in Cameroon, in the capital of Cameroon, Yaoundé, of course, and our presenter with us, Mr. Jean Paul, that is always here with me. You guys know him. So welcome to you both, Mr. Joybert and Mr. Jean Paul. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Joybert, direct from Cameroon in Africa. Right off the bat, Doc, if you look at the war in Ukraine and Russia that has affected the global economy right now, but Africa, however, has been hit the most because Africa depends on the West and China on almost everything. Mm-hmm. Now, from your perspective, how do you think African entrepreneur can get Africa out of this economic issue?
All right. Thank you so much. It's good to be on the show and to talk about, of course, the African economy and what we can do to take advantage of whatever is happening and build better for the future. And, Africa is going through very interesting times as far as the economy and business is concerned, from civil unrest to political poor leadership to COVID-19 and now Ukraine. All of these things are affecting the African economy in different areas. And being a continent that was late when it comes to the issues of industrialization, we get to depend a lot on Europe and, of course, the West in general on a couple of things. And this also points out that there is a gap for us entrepreneurs to start filling these gaps if Africa must really be sustainable and get to emerge. And your question reminds me of what I always look at in terms of the strength of the African economy. If you look at the GDP of Africa, and that of California as a state alone, California is 2 times the GDP of Africa. So, and GDP is rated as the quality or the quality of the finished products that a nation or a state can produce. So if California has a $3 trillion GDP and Africa has just $1 trillion. I mean, there's something they are doing that we are not doing, which we can learn. And that brings back to your question. Africans and entrepreneurs, we need to learn how to produce. Because if we keep on consuming, we'll keep on struggling. You see, so African entrepreneurs need to start taking that audacity to step out and start doing things and stop being afraid. Of course, we know the issues of policies, and that also bringing our politicians into play and our government leaders into play to start designing and structuring policies that can enable us, the entrepreneurs, to operate. No matter how ambitious you are, how audacious you are, if the laws of the land do not permit you to take certain bold actions, some things will be, we're always going to have difficulties in being that audacious. But the good news is we are better now in terms of policies than where we were 10 years ago. So we as entrepreneurs, we need to go further. We need to be bold enough to believe that we can produce and why not export into other countries and into other continents. That becomes very important. So there are gaps. This only proves that there are gaps that local businesses can fill these gaps and be able to provide for the citizens in Africa.
Very well. Wow. Now, you raised a very relevant point there now about the policies, because if you look at multinational companies in Africa, they are well off. the policy favors them. You look at the French companies, the Chinese companies, but if you look at African entrepreneurs who are trying to thrive, to come up, it's always difficult. So do you think it's the issue of the policy, or is it African entrepreneurs are not doing enough?
Yeah. To me, I think is first on the entrepreneurs, because if the foreign companies are able to perform, it means that these guys are rugged, these guys are driven, these guys are willing to do what it takes to get what they want. Right. And for us African entrepreneurs, Cameroon and from Nigeria to Tanzania, Southern Africa, I think that we are very comfortable and we are not very driven enough to confront certain things and get what we want. Because some of these policies, we have to engineer them, we have to speak about them, we have to lobby them, we have to hold the government accountable to do what they're supposed to do so it can favor us. But since we are in a culture where we grew up knowing that the government cannot be challenged, the government cannot be questioned, the government cannot be held accountable, it becomes difficult. In a nation like Cameroon, where somebody at my age, you have not just one president, and there are many other things going up and down, you get to be afraid to rise to the level. If somebody comes from the US, from France, and another country, they know that the civil service is there to serve me. The policies are there to serve me, and I can rise up to them and I can confront those policies. So it's also a big challenge from our part that we need to really rise up and most importantly come together and be able to influence these policies to our advantage. And then most importantly, have the audacity to scale. This issue of small business is a very big problem. People remain small for 10 years and 20 years, and you are still calling yourself small. So we need to have the audacity to scale, and most importantly, the skills to do this. Sometimes people remain small, not because they want to remain small. They don't know how to grow big. They don't have the mentality and the attitude to grow big. So that is also very important. When an American is building a business, they see the global market. When a Cameroonian is building a business, they see their local
market. You're right. You're absolutely right.
They're not thinking outside of Cameroon.
No, they just think about their immediate community.
Platini, did you want to weigh?
Yeah, I have a follow-up question with this on these policies. You have had a chance to work with entrepreneurs across all of Africa. Do you think, in your professional opinion, do you think they favor foreign companies in Africa more than our own local companies? Because I've had a lot of entrepreneurs tell me that companies like Brasseries du Cameroon that are from France, they get they get favored by the government over local entrepreneurs. Do you think that is true?
See, there is a fact about Africa that we cannot minimize, which is the issue of colonization. Mm-hmm. It still has a lot of deep roots in our ecosystem, and they still get to influence a lot of things in the government. We cannot deny that fact. It's there, clear and clear. Like the examples you gave, there are many foreign companies from certain countries that get to do better. They get to get better offers from the government than us, who are home-based. And of course, you cannot write off the issue of bribery and corruption at the top, at that level. There are things that some of us cannot get because we don't have the money or the access to the people at the top. So access is a challenge. You leave from abroad and you come to Cameroon, they treat you better than a local Cameroonian because to speak of
absolutely, that's true, 100%.
Yes.
So we get to. I've gone to offices and I get to stand in the queue because somebody comes and has a white, has a skin color that's white or speak an accent from the US. They get to treat the person specially more than me standing in the queue. This gets to happen as a mentality issue. You see, so the issue of colonization also plays a very big role. As you said, there are still companies that for 50 years plus, they have some deep roots in the government that they can influence and get what they want. And as I would like to say, colonization was not an act of civilization. nor was it the desire to civilize Africa. It was an act of force motivated by personal interest from the various nations.
Exploitation.
And today, they still have that personal interest.
And it's still going on, because you look at France, they are still in the West Africa.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned something very important about the policies. The AU implemented the African Intercontinental Free Trade Area. Now, as an entrepreneur consultant, put it into a perspective. Are African entrepreneurs aware of this? Do they know that now they can do business in the continent and they have a right to do so? Are they aware of that?
Yeah, many are aware, but not enough. But I think this is a challenge. From my experience, this is a challenge in two fronts. The first front is Africa is very good at having a lot of papers, but it's not practically implemented in the field. So, just a few days ago, I was just coming from Ghana and all of that, and different other countries, and you still get to go through almost the same thing that we had to go through 2-3 years ago. So the paperwork has been there, but our challenge is the implementation. And if we are able to get the free trade zone in Africa, it will be one of the biggest gifts for the continent. Because what makes an economy is not money, really. It is the free movement of people, goods, and money that makes an economy. Africa is still locked up because if I want to go to Nigeria, Ghana, many other countries, I will still need to get, go through a visa application and all of that. When you're in one thing that makes the US so incredible is if you want to leave Minnesota now and go to Texas, you just pay a flight, and in the next few minutes.
All you need is your ID card, and you're good to go.
I cannot do that if I want to go to Ghana right now.
No, you cannot.
I will need to get a visa. So, speed and time is very important in business. What you guys can achieve in 2 hours, I will need to take about 24 hours to achieve. You have to get more time. I've lost more time. And that takes you ahead of me, in fact, as far as business and execution is concerned. So that paperwork has been there, but we need a lot of work to make sure that the practice is there.
Okay.
I bet you that if you go to the airport right now and begin to talk about the free trade zone issue to many immigration police officers and women, they're not going to know. They're going to tell you that we don't yet know what they're talking about. It's the same like even national policies. There are policies you get to read on the newspaper. You go to a government office and the civil servant tell you that it's not enforced. That's just paperwork.
They say that directly like that. Well, I have a follow-up question for you, Mr. Javnyuy. Sorry, Dr. Javnyuy. So basically, based on what Mr. Jean-Paul just said, right. The African Union have free
African free trade area. Yeah. The intercontinental
but this is not functional at all.
They
are not implementing it. It's just paperwork.
Many countries have ratified it, and of course, we are praying that all the countries should ratify. But I think that they should have gone a step further in the implementation. They should have gone a step further to in the countries that ratified, they should have reduced the visa application, all the custom requirements, and all of these things, so that the free flow of movement and goods and money should be much more seamless than what it was last year or 2 years ago. But I don't feel that is in play. I did not experience that. You still get to get visa on arrival, or you apply in the country for travel and to other.
Part of that deal was free movement in the continent. So if you're still paying for visa to go to Nigeria, then the implementation hasn't been in place.
Taken place, absolutely.
So the question I have for you now, you travel a lot as a businessman, as an entrepreneur. You just say you recently came from Ghana. Now, if you go to a typical African capital cities, you'll find that the best restaurants are French, Chinese. The cars are Japanese or German. Now, the question is that are African entrepreneurs incapable of inventing, let's say, a car or build the best restaurant in the town? Or what is the problem? Is it the policy, or is it, what is it? Put into a perspective for our viewers, please.
My perspective is, I keep saying that the battle for Africa is in all fronts. It is everybody needs to be in this battle for us to liberate Africa. From the work that you guys are doing and having this podcast and trying to tell the African story, from the policeman on the street to a student in class to a teacher, everybody needs to be on board. Why do I say so? Many Africans don't believe in the quality of the products made in Africa. So an average African will still prefer to consume a Chinese product or a French product than the one made by the brother that they see. Yes.
That's that neo-colonization mindset.
It seems like when I started doing many training and consulting, let me give you a funny story. When I was doing training and consulting, many local businesses did not believe me. I mean, I know companies that will still go and hire guys from outside the country to come and do what I could do here in Africa and in Cameroon than pay us the local guys to get it done. And there are some jobs I started having just because I traveled out of the country and came back. They now feel as if they can now use my services. But nothing changed. I've schooled all throughout in Cameroon. So it is the cultural thing, which that's why I said that the African battle is from all fronts, from the average African on the street. We need to carry out the right education to push Africans and teach Africans how to believe in ourselves and our products. We talk about cars. There's Innocent Motors in Nigeria.
Yes. In Nigeria, I heard about him.
I heard
about him.
You barely see them.
A few days ago, which I'm hoping that all the governors should be able to do that. The new governor of Anambra State, I think, made Innocent Motors as his official car. Right. And that is the first ever. What if all the governors in Nigeria make Innocent Motors as the official car? Stop driving the Peugeot, stop driving the Mercedes, Maybach, and all of that, and drive the Innocent Motor cars. That would be better. What if African presidents start consuming African-made cars?
I think this will have to start with more of education.
Start with ourselves.
Yeah, it has to start with ourselves.
And then the policies also should be able to promote these companies to actually build better products. And again, the entrepreneurs themselves need to make sure that they are building products, creating a customer experiences that can also compete, because individuals also want to invest money in what is good, what is excellent, and what can serve them and solve the pain points for which they are buying that particular product. So it's an ecosystem. And this is also where the government comes in. The government needs to rise up as the father of the compound, and they say that, and start holding every key stakeholder accountable. Please, you need to do this. You need to do this. But because many of our governments across the continent, they are just full of self-interest individuals and thinking of their pockets and bribery and corruption. Nobody does. Imagine the president going on national television and calling on Cameroonians to wear Cameroonian dresses, encouraging Cameroonians to wear.
That will make a big impact. That's what we need. It begins by the president himself. Look at what Gaddafi did. You saw what Gaddafi always wore, his traditional attire everywhere.
Again, all of this always sent us back to that colonial mindset, because everybody still thinks what comes from Germany is better than what is made in Nigeria.
Correct.
What comes from the United States of America is better than what is made in Cameroon.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not even that great.
Yes.
You know, the quality is terrible. But just because you have made in USA or because your auntie just flew back in to the country and they brought a box, everybody want to get stuff from them.
Correct.
So yeah, it always goes back to that colonial mindset.
Well, what I see is that the African heads of states or the policy makers need to have a policy that you cannot sell a product that is not made in Africa. Or if you do, the taxes should be high.
Well,
so that will force African to consume the African product. Can
I comment on that, Mr. JP and Dr. Javnyuy, a little bit? I think where Africa is right now, if they pass a policy like that, we will not be able to survive, because we don't produce that much yet. But I think if the government was to create a policy that first of all push out our own home products, then when we max out and we can be able to take care of our population before they import anything else, that would be better. Yeah.
So we need education. product quality to compete in the international arena.
Absolutely.
You know, we need good promotion. That's why African entrepreneurs need. And now, I don't know if you've heard, I'm pretty sure you've heard that Google has landed an intercontinental connection in Togo, in Lomé. I'm sure you've heard. So now my question is, it must have been easy for Google to just, you know, now my question is, what are African entrepreneurs doing? Are they going to invest? Are they going to join? I don't know, because, you know, Africa, we consume what's not ours, and I don't understand, because look at what's happening in Ukraine right now. If just Europe or America cut us off, we're done.
Yeah, that's very
We
scary.
are done.
And that's scary.
So that's what I'm wondering. What are they doing?
Yeah. You know, a lot of things have happened in the last couple of years, which again, I go back to, if we just have a little bit of good policies and that audacity to set out, we can do a lot. For example, you know, when COVID-19 happened, there was a total shutdown, right? And many African countries still survived. Many local citizens went back to consume local products.
Absolutely.
That alone was a strong message to us that it's possible that we can survive.
Yes.
So that we can survive. The same like in Cameroon, when internet was cut off from the English part of Cameroon, a young guy created a car tracking security product that uses SMS and all of that. And it's now in more than 8 African countries and one of the best security systems across the continent.
Look at that kind of innovation.
What am I trying to say? We Africans, we can create.
Right.
If we are pushed to the wall, we can create. The point is, I think we are comfortable.
Yeah.
Please,
Absolutely.
So emphasize that comfortability you're talking about.
Please emphasize on that.
Yeah.
You know, because it's it goes back to how we grew up. We grew up consuming. Our education taught us how to consume, not how to build, not how to create. So we grew up so comfortable looking for a job, looking for what to buy and resell. We are struggling with production, manufacturing, conversion, and all of that. We are so good at buying, selling, and distribution. But Africa needs to go right back. Manufacturing, conceptualization, designing, packaging, all of that before sales and distribution start happening. And many people don't want to put in the work when it comes to research and development. Again, it brings it back to policy. One of the things we are trying to lobby across the African continent is for many African countries to create a startup policy. In many African countries, when you start a business today, you are still in research and development. You have registered a business, they expect you to start paying taxes immediately. You have not perfected your product, you have not gone to the market even.
And usually the taxes are very high.
Yes. So if we are able to, if the ecosystem is structured to promote a lot of research and development for people to create, because when you're creating, you are not selling. So it means you cannot really pay taxes. So many people get to scare away from going through the pain or the process of creating. So they prefer to just buy and resell. And that is the comfortability I'm talking about.
Makes sense. Absolutely.
Because the truth is that whatever that we are importing is not made for the African market. Whatever Apple and Google and whoever they're designing, they design with their number one market in mind, which is the American.
Absolutely. They don't build it for the African market.
No.
Benefiting to try to look, for example, look at in the early days of Apple products. You could not create a simple Apple ID from Africa for many African countries.
I don't even think Siri works in some countries in Africa.
Several years ago, one of my friends got an iPhone, and it was a brother in the US to create an Apple ID and send to everybody to use the iPhone here. You see, it's just recently that it has changed. So there are still gaps that we can create things contextualized and create from our own local realities and scale them to many other African market. So our people need to be comfortable in creating.
I agree with that 100%.
That makes
There's a lot of things that you can't really use from Africa. Even things like apps like TikTok. I don't think you can monetize them from Africa. Even YouTube.
You can monetize YouTube
now you can do it.
Yeah,
it used to not be like that.
Monetize YouTube, but I don't think Cameroon, for example, is not among the countries that can monetize right now. So you have to put a different country, like in a different country, so you can monetize.
So yeah,
YouTube payment system does not cover Cameroon yet. So those are some of the challenges that.
So you talked about creating, which is basically industrialization, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the main ingredients of industrialization is electricity. Now, Africa, we have problem with electricity. Recently, we couldn't connect with you because of electricity.
Because of electricity.
So I don't know what can African entrepreneurs do to change that. I mean,
before you pose that question to him, add transportation to that.
Right.
Add electricity, add transportation.
Transportation, infrastructure.
And electricity.
Infrastructure in general, internet infrastructure in general,
Right.
all of these things are very, very critical. And again, look like power issues which you're talking about. Africa is super blessed with the sun.
Yes.
We need experts to massively convert this energy in a way that we can use. Our African guys in the energy sector need to rise up and convert this. Apart from that, the natural waterfalls that we have, just being able to convert this into energy and efficiently distribute is the problem.
Yes.
And
Just one dam in the northwest region is projected that dam, if well harnessed, can supply electricity to more than 3 Central African nations.
Absolutely.
River Congo, one of them, yeah.
But it's not being used.
Thing is a Minchum fall in Cameroon.
Right way. Just the sun that we have, if converted well, can supply energy to the whole Cameroon effectively without any challenge.
I blame our leaders for this one.
Well, who else can we blame? It's them.
This is directly to the government, to the African government. This is direct.
Yes, it's direct. It's so direct to them and to our engineers, where they need to really rise up and, of course, do that. And I think this also now relates a lot to capital, because those are sectors that are capital intensive, and there are policies that are in place to accommodate some of these things to happen. And this is where investors also need to start looking at this, and especially African diaspora. They need to start looking at this. How can they convert this capital and bring it back in a way that they can finance some of these heavy projects? You see, this is very critical. And because when that collaboration starts happening, I believe that in infrastructure, if we have proper collaboration between money, the government, and technical skills, we can do a lot of work that will advance this particular sector. If not, to have an important meeting online and the thing just goes off and there's nothing you can do.
Like that.
Yes, like what happened, you see? And I always keep saying, what you guys can do in 2 hours, because you have better internet, we need to take about 4 or 5 hours to achieve that same task. So in business, we are at a disadvantage as far as that is concerned. What you guys can achieve for 24 hours, because you have steady internet, steady electricity, we cannot do that maybe 3 days, in 1 week, because we cannot ascertain that we are going to have electricity consistently for the next 6 hours. And that gets to slow down business a lot. And you get to incur a lot of extra expenses, because you have to find other ways to maintain power in the office. Any business that incurs consistent extra expenses will not be profitable. And when you're not profitable, you cannot scale. When you cannot scale, you cannot employ more people. So the ripple effect of not having power just for 2 hours is enormous. It's too much. Not to talk of businesses that depend so much only on electricity, like imagine guys who are into food stuff. They don't only lose time and they cannot serve customers. When their perishable products gets bad, they lose capital, they lose profit, they get into more losses, and they go back to square one, trying to look for capital again before they start business over. So it brings a lot of negative effects on the whole business ecosystem, that needs to be sorted out. Like right now, that's one of the biggest
that's the most important part.
Yes.
We have to solve
to get that sorted out. So it's also an opportunity, including transport, including energy, and of course, internet and all of that. These are a lot of areas that then, apart from these things being social impact per se, there is also money into this for investors to find ways to put money into this with trusted partners and be able to build a better sustainable infrastructure for the continent.
Honestly, Dr. Javnyuy, sorry, I keep saying Mr. Sorry, Doctor. On this capital part, I believe diasporas have enough that they can take back home. But one of the biggest problems we face is distrust among our entrepreneurs. That is a very big problem. Because even if you sit here and you decide that, okay, regardless of what the policies might be, at the end of the day, Cameroon is my home. I have to invest in Cameroon or in Nigeria or in Ghana, right? You're not there. You send your money down there. It's not guaranteed that they're gonna do what you want them to do. They're always gonna look for ways to manipulate the money, bring you up stories. And this, I'm saying this from experience.
I understand. We all have seen that. We all have faced that.
So it's very hard for us to really trust that. So you, as an international trainer and a consultant, what do you suggest could help solve this issue of distrust among entrepreneurs in Africa?
The issue of dishonesty and poor integrity is so alarming among our young people. And of course, remember I said earlier that the liberation of Africa is a battle at all fronts. And our personal character and how we approach life as young people or entrepreneurs in general is very important. Of course, I have heard stories now and again how the diaspora community, individuals have sent in millions upon millions for business ideas to fund businesses, but at the end, even their own family members, their closest friends, they squander the money and they don't talk to them again. And many, you hear different kind of stories. I have families in Cameroon that, here's one funny thing about, our people. I have families in Cameroon that during December, I am the one that go buy foodstuff for the parents and all of that because the siblings are not trusted. Like one guy that I've been buying for the family since 2013 or so, and we have never met just online. He sees me online and he feels like he can trust me. And so the last time that we spoke, he said, he sent about 500,000 francs, let's say $1,000, and asked his younger man to buy food stuff for the parents and prepare the family for Christmas celebration. And this guy did not use up to $100 to get things for the family. The guy was so pissed off and all of that, gave money to buy a land for him to come build a house. The land was not purchased and all of that. And if you talk to many guys in the diaspora, you hear many of these complaints. So the capital is coming. The truth is that the African diaspora sent a lot of money. I think the last time I checked the statistics, I think that they sent almost $1 trillion plus.
2 trillion between 2020 and 2021. 2 trillion. So we boost economy in the continent.
But where did the money go?
That's a good question.
That leaves to come, that come to Africa. But because of integrity issues, poor implementation, lack of trust, and all of these things, the
security
effect and security, yes, the positive effect of this is not being felt in the continent. So our people also need to rise. $1,000 is a lot of money to start a business that can go places that employ many people. $5,000 can start an incredible company to go places many African countries. In some African countries, $10,000 is 100 million local currency. Like in Sierra Leone, many other countries. And there are guys who are doing incredible stuff with less than that. So our people need to rise up when it concerns ethical living and being very effective. It's the same like, for example, many local entrepreneurs get to contact guys in the diaspora and say, oh, like they can get to Mr. Woman and like, please, I have this idea and all of that. And he will send them to me to verify if they have a good idea. And a young guy will come to me and I'll talk to the person. I'll ask you a simple question. Can you go and bring me a report of your last transaction for the last 6 months? They'll go and they'll never show up again. They don't like accountability. They don't like to be held accountable. So, and there are many guys in the diaspora, they don't want to invest in young people that they cannot trust. You're asking for a guy in the US, Europe to give you money for your business. And the guy asks you, just bring me your basic financial statement, income and expenditure for the last 6 months. Let me see what you've been able to do. You cannot show. You cannot present anything. But you want him to give you $1,000, $2,000 for a business that you cannot even prove what you have done so far. So sometimes the demarcation with between the diaspora and the local community, I think majority, the biggest problem is the guys out there no longer trust us. And you cannot blame them. They've lost a lot of money in trusting people who cannot deliver the results. So one of the things that I think that should be happening is we need to create structures, and the people in the diaspora needs to understand certain things that they can do back at home. For example, trying to establish and leverage on certain local laws that they can use to do business with people locally. Sometimes just signing legal agreements that can bind in Cameroon can help to prevent some of those things. Because in our African setting, we are very quick at just trusting people. Like, since you're from the same tribe,
we just shake hand on it.
And give me money
and that's it.
No documents, no
nothing. No.
I will live up to the expectations, and guys get to mess up. So one thing I get to encourage is learn to get documentations done. When they're getting into any transaction, get the right documentations done, because our people, they fear documentation. When you hold them accountable with documentation, they know that this is serious business. And number two, I've been trying to encourage a lot of guys to set up businesses in what we call business representation. We don't have a lot of that in Africa yet, where somebody can set up a business and that service firm rotates around representing people in Cameroon and Africa genuinely to execute their projects for them and get paid for that. It's a very good business idea. Get you registered, become legal, have a good structure, portray yourself the right way, and guys in the diaspora want to do things back at home, they will sign a contract with you, they can confirm your location, make sure you're legal, get their lawyers on ground to work with you, and they hand over the project. I need you to get this house done, and you build the house successfully, and you hand over the final product to them. But we want to set up a business that we have done that with some people right now, not as a full-time service yet, but we have helped people to set up businesses in Cameroon. We register for you, we recruit your staff for you, we do the contracts for them, we train them, and we do the follow-up, and we hold them accountable. This is the best way to be able to sort that out. If not, trust alone is one of the most scarce commodities.
Of course, you just can't trust people. Anyways, I have a follow-up question for you, Dr. Javnyuy. So that means you have an agency that we can just get you a plan or a business that we want to execute in the countries you're available in Africa, and then just send you a check, and then you can handle all of this done?
Yes, it's not yet a full agency. I'm currently working on that, but I've been able to do this with some friends on a personal basis.
Okay.
But currently, at the moment, I'm working on it to become a full service firm that will have a dedicated team of people that have worked with me, of course, and we can make this to be much more structured and very legal. And I'm even doing this, hopefully before the end of the year, this is more structured. And I'm doing this to also work with some guys in the diaspora, especially like these organizations of various, from different tribes like the US and Europe, where I'll have to do like a US tour and talk to these people on how show them the proven system that we have developed to enable them invest back at home and they have full guarantee that whatever reason that they are made for the money to be done, it will be fully executed for that and within the required time frame. We have done that for a couple of people. One of our last contracts was an NGO and business from Dallas, Texas, that we implemented in Cameroon. So all they did was they gave us the vision and they gave us the money, and we executed in Cameroon and then had the system in place, the staff in place, and then we handed over the management back to them. You see, people are looking for something.
This is very great.
Yes.
This is problem solving for a lot of entrepreneurs out here.
Good
this is good.
Yes.
This is wonderful.
Yes.
We need this right now more than ever.
Yes. Now, you talked about the capital to start a business. Now, what is the process of getting a loan in the bank in Africa? And at what percentages and what are the requirements for entrepreneurs to get a loan to start a small business or any other business?
Well, this is still unrelating. I think that many banks in Africa have not been able to have a good financing structure that favor entrepreneurs. It's not yet there. Many banks in Africa are still operating the traditional model, have a landed collateral and you get a loan, or you're a civil servant and you can use your salary as collateral to get a loan. Oh. Now, for many people like us, we don't have salaries, we're not workers, we are still young, we don't have landed property yet, so many of us are excluded from the traditional banking system. But the good news is many banks have started creating departments of SMEs to find a way to establish a good financing model that can favor entrepreneurs who have good ideas. All they have is the ingenuity, the hard work, and the determination to succeed. They don't have a land to give a bank. They don't even have a trusted family member who can stand as a guarantor to sign the money, but they just have an idea and all of that. Some banks are really creating departments like that. But again, we need to help the banks. I would say also, we the entrepreneurs, we need to help the banks because as I always say, personally, I don't trust an entrepreneur who has just an idea and you're looking for somebody's money to reach on that idea. A good entrepreneur, have your own idea, start small.
Right.
Many investors don't expect you to be profitable. Many banks don't expect you to be very profitable. They just expect you to have a proof of concept.
Correct.
So one challenge is many entrepreneurs, they have ideas and then they move from one inbox to another and looking for somebody to give them money.
So
you have to start, at least you have to start
some
going.
People might have ideas in place, right? And then maybe they just need that little booster, right? They just need a little bit of loan to start.
Now, it's good. It's good. Now, if you look at that from the emotional state of mind, it's good. We understand that part. But in business, when it comes to numbers, it is wrong. You cannot get a loan for an idea. Number one, when you're starting an idea, you have 95% chances that it's going to fail.
Right.
And it's your first time to attempt such a business.
So when your business fails, you're going through a depression of failure and a depression of a loan you have to pay. You already started on the wrong footing. So I would say every business idea has a small part that you can start very small. Every idea.
I'm a huge believer of that.
Yes.
Start small.
Give me any idea. You want to start a university? Start by running an evening school or program in your house. Let guys come and teach them in your house how to go and pass the university exams. Start from there. Charge them 1,000 francs or $1. Do you want to do you want to start doing buying and selling of cars? Okay, you don't have the money to start. Find a way to make guys already have the capital, take the pictures, promote it on your network, sell to somebody, get commission, save the money and start. I can give you many stories of guys we have mentored who have been able to start incredible businesses. The last guy that we worked with, he now has a computer shop, which is his own computer shop. But 2 years ago, he started with a simple process. He will leave Boya, come to Douala, the capital city. He spoke with some people. He would take pictures of laptops and then go back to his town, promote on the status WhatsApp groups, people are going to place commands. Number one, he's going to sell to them a bit higher than what he gets of the wallet. Number two, the shop owner is going to give him commission. In 2 years, he saved a couple of millions, and he now has a shop and employs 2 people. Now, and this is where that resourcefulness and that creativity and just that determination to make it work. I don't trust an entrepreneur. I don't trust an entrepreneur as an idea and looking for whose money to reach on that idea when you have not reached your own money. I don't trust you. Something is wrong somewhere. So whether you want to start whatever, whether going to real estate, I can tell you stories of guys who are now building their own houses, but they started real estate in renting, meeting a landlord as a house to rent and promoting a house to rent, and they get someone to rent their house. The landlord gives them a small commission and they save the money, and that's how they do, and they raise capital. So no matter how big the idea is, you want to start an airline company, start by selling airline tickets. You're going to own an airline company someday. So the challenge is many people don't want to start small. You see, I didn't...
Humble beginnings.
Yes. Start with what you have and then grow. Once you grow and then you think you need that booster, then apply for the loan.
No, actually, some people just want to see you start pushing.
Right. Once you reach a certain level and then you see investors
start coming in.
Because they've seen your
take the baby steps.
Right.
Let me tell you something. We are in a century right now. Money is very available. Billions of dollars are available to invest in ideas. Right now, based on where I am sitting right now, I have more people who have money than more entrepreneurs who are ready to be funded. We don't have many fundable entrepreneurs yet. That's a challenge. Many people have businesses, but they are not funding ready. That's another challenge. Many have ideas, they have not started, they don't have a proven record to prove that, look, as I said earlier, many investors know that we entrepreneurs, we don't have a lot of money to run profitable businesses. They just want us to show proof of records, proof of concept. Have you been able to sell to 5 people? Just
So that is one of the requirements of getting a loan to start a business in Africa. Show a proof of your business. Have you sold at least to 5 people? And if okay.
Or you put a land with collateral.
Do you have to have a business account?
Many a times, as I said, many of these banks know that you don't need to have a business account, or you don't even have the money to have a business account, right? But sometimes just prove that you know you are going somewhere. Prove that you have a future. Prove that you are working hard.
Have some financial forecast.
To make it work. Yes. Bring some data to
show them. They want to see something.
You sold to people.
Okay. Now, we all know that the business currency in Africa is dollar or euro, right? You're a businessman, you travel around in Africa, and you know that, if you carry your Cameroonian currency in Nigeria, it's not going to work. You probably carry dollar or euro. Now, most African national banks, they reserve their money in dollar in their banks, right?
Absolutely.
And now, if you're watching the news, you're probably aware of this, sir. Russia now is trading their oil with their currency. So that means the petrodollar is going to go down. Dollar is going to go down. We all know that. Now, how are African entrepreneurs going to navigate with this? Because dollar is going down, euro is going to decline soon too because of the system that Russia put in place. Because I don't think they use the American banking system. It's called TWIT or EFF, something like that. They are not using that anymore. So now dollar and euro is declining.
Do you really think it's going to decline that much? Because it's only Russia, though. The oil from Saudi Arabia still goes with the dollars.
I doubt it. Because they asked Saudi Arabia to pump more oil, they refused. Even now, I think Dubai, they're starting to sell their oil with their currency.
Okay. So what do you think?
How do you think African entrepreneurs?
The truth is that any country that has value, that is powerful to sell to the world, they can always have the powers, the economic powers to grow their currency and the other currencies get to decline. And as a continent where we don't have a lot that we export. We instead import a lot. We are at a disadvantage as far as this is concerned. You know, some countries will keep trying to compete. The dollar will go down, but not that much because they export a lot, technology and many other stuff. You see, but Africa would definitely be at a very big loss. You know, agriculture, we are not even that good at exporting. Technology, we are not that good at exporting. Oil, everything, even the medicine. From oil to natural resources, we only get to pick the raw stuff as it is, export it to other countries, they process it, then
we'll buy it back from them.
Yes.
What system is that?
It's going to be a challenging, and if you look at the African youth setting, inflation has been crazy.
Yes.
From Cameroon right now to Nigeria to many other countries, inflation is like crazy.
Is that the reason the dollar now in Cameroon is about 600 francs?
Yes.
Because I see a dollar now in Cameroon is 600 francs. I was like, wow.
We talked about in the last episode.
Yeah.
Now,
you need more francs now to get just $1. So
yeah.
it's a lot, and of course we're just going to keep seeing how we can navigate through this. But we can only be able to compete with this if we are able to, you know, upgrade the quality of our trade.
And then, yeah, the frustrating thing is dollar is not backed with anything. It's just what they export, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our currency, if we had a currency, we have a lot of natural resources, minerals. If we had a currency that we can all use, that we can back it on our resources, gold, diamonds, uranium, that's all we need.
You know, one can also argue that the dollar, even though it's not back on anything, is a system that in place that they have set so for over the centuries, that the entire world has to depend on the Americans for a lot of their system. So that right there keeps their dollars up.
The payment system. Yes.
Yeah. So that right there, that's something we need to work on. And I feel like even at that, Africa is not going to just get up overnight, snap a finger like that, and then get it done.
No, it's a process. We all need to pitch in. We all need to join.
Like he said, everybody has to get on board with this.
Yes.
Every angle.
Yes.
All right, Mr. JP, do you still have more questions for him before I get a little bit personal with him? I know.
That will be all for now, and I think he's covered a lot.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to ask you though, like, all right, you have achieved so much in a short while. Like, I've always followed your journey. No, man, you've done an incredible job. I've been following your story since, like, I've been following you for years now. So, my question to you now is, what is your drive? And how did you stay consistent in such a country like Cameroon, where it's really hard for entrepreneurs to emerge? You stayed consistent and you went international. That's incredible. That's something I could have never done from Cameroon. So what is your drive?
Well, as I always say, my drive is my personal story. I didn't have an option. The only option I had was either to succeed or to remain poor. So, I think I don't want to go back being poor. So the only option I have is to keep working hard and to succeed. So my drive is my personal story. If you have researched what I've seen, is almost every story I've shared has this. I was born out of wedlock, so I don't know my dad. And my mom was a struggling farmer per se, and not very well to do. And when I was done with high school, I could not go to the university. So I started sponsoring myself, partly from high school and the university. I did all the odd jobs you can think of: car wash, commercial motorbike riding, anything I can do to pay fees. I did that right up to my doctorate that I sponsored myself. And the only option I had was to succeed. I remember one time talking to my mom, she was like, either you go back to Bamenda. Bamenda is the largest town in the Northwest region, for those who don't know Cameroon very well. And either you go back to Bamenda and see what you can do with your life, or you come back to the village and be a farmer like me. That was the condition I had. And the only option was to go back to Bamenda. And that was how I went back after high school, and I started hustling myself through that. So my drive is, I know where I'm coming from, and it's not a good place. So, and the only option that I have is to go forward, because if I go backward, there's no other option. Some people are blessed to have, uncles that can help them, aunts that can help them, and people that can stand up for them. But some of us, we don't have that. There are some families in the African setting that everybody lives below the poverty line. Everybody lives an average life. So it's a reality among the African setting. Almost in every nation, you get to see some families like that. So the only option for me was to go forward, and is to go forward. And I also believe that this is a ministry for me, or a mission for me. And that's why I believe so much in education and training. I believe so much in it. The only thing that has been able to put me in this place is because I got the skills, I got the right knowledge, and I was able to use that to create the right value, which has gotten me into the right platforms, to the right rooms, and met the right different personalities across the world, and all of that. So, and I am on a mission to see that how do we contribute in helping many more young people across Africa to be part of the active economy. Many young people are dormant, they are not active, and they don't know how to be active. That's why in Africa, we have a lot of high unemployment, degree holders, MBA holders, and they don't know what to do totally. The difference is they are disconnected. They don't have the skills that qualify them to be part of the active economy. So we need to keep creating programs and structures and trainings that will teach them how to plug into this economy. As I always say, I believe this is the century and the age and the time that anybody can become anything. If you just know, for example, you just know how to leverage and use social media very well. Mm-hmm. You can get connected to almost whoever you want. If you communicate well, use it very well, anybody around the world can discover you. I've been able to travel many countries, not because I know these people personally, it's because of social media. Of course, we connected because of social media. Yeah. You see, just teaching young people how they can use social media and get jobs, use social media and start a business, and many other stuff that they can do. I believe this is also something that the continent needs. If not, we'll keep having millions of young people who have incredible potentials, but they are totally disconnected. There are young people who don't know how to use digital platforms. Mm-hmm. There are many young people who don't know how to start something small and scale it to be something amazing. Yeah. So we need to be teaching these things so they can do that. So that is my drive, and that's my personal mission. How do we lift up many more young people from that lifestyle to become better professionals and business people?
Well, thank you so much, Doctor. That's an honorable journey. Definitely you have so much to offer the African community as a whole, and this to me it's a purpose. It's deep. So yes, I am really behind you, and I'm gonna be following all of your work, because even me, I'm here learning from you. There's a lot I want to do in Africa, but I don't really know how to go about it. So if you're any African youth watching out there, his LinkedIn is going to be dropped in the video, and his social medias. If you need business coaching or a Diaspora that you're willing to take your business back to Africa, please don't hesitate to contact him. Thank you so much. And Mr. JP, did you have anything to ask him before we wrap up?
Thank you for what you're doing, and we hope to have you back here so we can talk about how we can develop Africa. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we close up, do not forget we had the African proverb that we dropped last week, which was a river does not go down through the forest without bringing down, for the first time, without bringing down trees. So you guys were supposed to reach out with your comments. So basically, here is the meaning right here today. Okay, the meaning is change does not come without disturbing your comfort. You can't get to where you wanna go without getting a certain level
of
obstacles. That's the river bringing down trees. So for the next episode is gonna be a saying, which basically goes: a child that says the father or the mother will not sleep too. Yep, I think that is a saying from West Africa still. Okay. So dissect that for the next episode.
In the next episode.